There's one question that has been asked. Now, you could be the judge on whether or not it's realistic for us to put it to the government and ask them, what, if you're letting people come into Kenya from China, why not bring people, our Kenyans, from Wuhan?
Yeah.
Is that a fair question that we're putting to the government?
It's a very fair question.
Yes.
I mean, I think really that is interrogating the logic of the decisions that the government is making, you know. And I think the government has a big duty, a deep duty, to inform the public. It's the first defense of the public is information. And there's too little of it coming out. I mean, you heard from your clips and the vox pops, everybody's saying, tell us what's going on. Yeah. Tell us what's happening. What is this thing? How do we protect ourselves? Okay. So much as I agree with Henry, we need to ask harder questions, but we need to hear more from government. It is their responsibility to provide the public with the information to defend themselves.
The response we've had today, and we'll have a piece of it, is Wuhan is on lockdown, so it's unrealistic to get people out. But 45 nations at least have gotten their people, their citizens out of Wuhan and back home, and of course into an isolation, a situation where they make sure they contain everything. Does that betray or speak of our unpreparedness to contain this?
I would like to stick to the questions that the media has asked around that.
Right.
And because I want to stick to the media realm, we do not just have Kenyans in one area. We have many other nationalities, and several countries across the globe have done something about their nationalities in that place, such that instead of asking whether Kenya has done and all that, seeking the truth, facts, what everyone else has done, comparing the facts and making people then understand that what we're being told, someone else, there were more, maybe there were 100 nationalities in Wuhan, 4 countries have done this and that and all that. That way, because if you say, for example, we have Kenyans there, you're told that they are locked down, that's all. You have not provided any additional information. But if you go further and say that, yes, we had Kenyans and Australians and Ugandans and South Africans, this is what has happened to them and all that. That way you are comparing government to government, right? People in a lockdown area to another, such that then we stop the basic saying that we have Kenyans in Wuhan, and then they have been given 1.3 million, and the Chinese government has said the place is locked down. Find out, it's you know, Wuhan is an entire region. It's almost the size of this country, because China is a country of 1.4 billion people. How many nationalities are in the region, and what is happening to them? That way, you are able to basically meet the public interest function that you are giving Kenyans an entire, you know, a set of information that can make decisions based on. And you're also challenging, because remember, your work as the media is to hold those in power to account. Yes. You are challenging, you're showing, letting Kenyans know, the Kenyans who are with this and these students, or these colleagues.
The reason this is being asked is, and you've spoken of the countries and what they've done for them, and I was looking for this, it's been sent to me, what's happening in South Africa. President Cyril Ramaphosa has directed the repatriation of South African citizens from Wuhan city in Hubei province, China. So when we're caught in this, in terms of what is Kenya doing, it's as if we have given up on our people. Is this unfair for us to
maybe question, when did he do that?
This is today.
Yes, because South Africa is closer home. Now that South Africa has done it, when you bring that out, then Kenyans, okay, so we had Kenyans there, South Africans are coming out and all that. You're building a narrative that, yes, there was a lockdown, but countries are noticing that people are getting psychological disturbances, family and all that, and doing that. The whole idea is Kenya will not be the first to do this. So they come to Africa. I mean, the whole idea is bring the narratives, compare the narratives and all that. Allow them, the people who have spoken on TV now, who don't seem to have a lot of information, to know and mention those countries and know what has been happening, because that is your role in civic education. You're letting people know that what other jurisdictions have done, and that way you are empowering people to ask questions to those in power.
But in bringing that, we're basically saying...
That story has been run. I think the first few countries that evacuated their nationalities, that story appeared in Kenya, when at that time it was still very remote.
Yes.
Whether they are Kenyans involved. In fact, I remember our ambassador was in Nairobi, and she was saying there was no problem. But at that point, there were stories on what US is doing, what Australia has done, what Turkey had done, thinking through, one, establishing where their citizens are, what is their state, because there are people who had been under quarantine for over 2 weeks, meaning that they were not infected, but were in that region.
Yes.
So now we are even predisposing them to being infected. Because if you were in the quarantine first month, and you are not unwell, and now it is spreading faster, and they've kept you there, then this is what they've done to you. So it's not just about bringing them home. We must begin to point out that this is ideally committing citizens to death.
Yes.
Because the infections are now increasing beyond the earlier point where it was people who had been thought to have taken certain type of food, to where infections are now from human to human. And so I think, yes, I still think that there's need for more comparison. There is a need for even Kenya negotiating with other countries. If US was evacuating people and putting them into a quarantine in the US, why not say, do this on our behalf?
Yes.
Take our citizens to, if in 14 days they are not infected, we will then bring them, because that we have perhaps easier way to manage when they are in your position.
Yes.
We do that with Turkey. Turkey is not too far. So I think we need to ask ourselves, and for me the biggest challenge is to allow this Chinese airline to come. When KQ continued to go to China, it was among the last airlines to make that decision. So it meant that we were able to bring back our people at the earliest moment before this became as bad as it is today.
Let's look at another headline that we can expect to this. I believe you can see it now from my screen. Enemies of the people. This is what you can expect from the Standard as well. I mean, David is here to talk about headlines and being sensational. But this, what do you think about it?
You know, I mean, I think for me, the whole, what is missing from media is just a more proactive engagement with this issue. And I think we really have to look at public health communication very differently. Much as we're talking about, you know, providing comparative analysis and whatever, that definitely is a media function and a duty and responsibility. But really to feel that our government is engaging in a proactive way with this issue and is seeking the information, is bringing it home to us, and maybe even in the forefront. We don't have to wait for South Africa. Why do we have to wait for South Africa and wait for the US and wait for other people?
Yes.
You know, really just that gravitas, just a feeling of gravitas being given to the issue by government is what is missing.
Right.
So, I mean, really, that headline, yeah, it sums it. It absolutely sums it up.
David?
I think the point is all headlines are there to attract attention. What goes in after someone has picked a paper written enemies of the people, immediately it's, so what is this? What are you, who are, you've put four faces, they were supposed to do something, they have failed. It is a failure if you throw that headline and then we have nothing talking to it. But if you have such a headline and then people already explain, we expected this has not happened and all that. So I would say also,
you're in the, yeah.
Yes, I would say also, look at it comparatively. Over the past 10 days, what have been the issues affecting the people,
yes,
and how many did we highlight and all that. So I won't condemn this. I expect it's about coronavirus.
It is.
I'll have to say it is the first time we have coronavirus on the two headlines. Like, well, we had it. I know we have had it coverage.
Yeah, we have
had coverage.
We've had it on, yes.
Yes, but
especially when the government said the students are going to remain there.
Yes.
We're not bringing them back because
Yes.
it's safer for them there,
Yes.
where there's more controls.
We had in the headline.
It has been there, yes.
Headline.
Yes, it has.
But
this is a big story.
Yes,
Even,
I mean
yeah,
it is a big story. I mean, definitely
and
now
even
when
when of course this plane landed, it's a big issue.
Yes, I mean, of course, I saw the plane landing and it was a big issue and all that. The point is, after you've done this, because you're drawing attention to a matter that is being ignored or treated with, let's say, with not much attention, that is important.
With
most
kid
important,
gloves.
yes, yes, and most important is bring out. You have declared them enemies of the people, isn't it? You explain that the health minister in South Africa has done this, the Kenyan has done this, a neighboring country has done it, and so you are simply comparing. The whole idea is that you are not calling, you're not name calling and all that. You're presenting facts and saying that in an ideal situation, this would have been done. That way you are yourself saying that we provided facts for people to judge, and with that we have drawn a conclusion.
Yes.
So I wouldn't condemn the headline as per se,
but
as long as you have put content to delivery.
I believe we'll see that tomorrow. Yes, real quick before we take the break.
I also wonder, because we're not seeing enough from the specialists. I don't read enough in the papers from the people who actually know what's going on.
Yes.
You know, there's a lot of at the political policy level commentary, but Kenya has some of the best, the most qualified epidemiologists, virologists, microbiologists. A lot of vaccine and virus research is going on in Kenya, international research. Why are we not hearing from people who actually know about what's going on? And I think that maybe is a place where media can go when there's no information from others.
Okay.
I hope they will speak.
Yes.
But it's a place to go.
Some have spoken, but those who are attached in anywhere with the research groups that are under the government or in collaboration with the government have somewhat been sworn to silence, because this information needs to only come from the Ministry of Health. So far, that's how it has been treated. But you've spoken of being proactive as media.
I mean, in a way, they're returning us to the place that we're trying to go away from.
Yes.
You know, the place where information is not you know, at a premium. We pay for that research. Right. We pay for those institutions, and we pay for them to help us through situations like this one.
Yes,
you know, and
before, I think we must be careful what you said about information coming from one channel. You must be careful not to gag yourself.
yes,
Who has stopped you from interviewing anyone? And
No one has.
Yes.
And I tell you this because we've asked them.
Right.
Yes.
Yes, we've asked them,
Yes.
whether it's from Kemri and what have you.
Yes.
And they would be telling you something off record.
Yes.
But when you bring out the mic or the camera, you
Yes.
say, no, I can't speak. Just this one directed to
Yes.
the government
So,
spokesperson or the Ministry of Health.
Did we run that off record?
No, you don't. If they don't want you to go off record, you can't. There's
Well,
a lot of trust and
yeah.
respect.
I think
and you know
one we must ask ourselves, there is a question about accountability, and a question about accountability cannot be, you know, you can't treat it in any other softer way. You know, it is about us doing an investigation or an audit on our preparedness and making a case. Are we prepared or we are not?
Okay.
And in that, if the CS or the PS have said we are prepared, and in your audit you find out that we are not prepared, there isn't much you can do to kid them around. You just have to call them out for what they are.
All right.
But there is also a place for deliberations.
Okay.
You see, there is a place that before we arrive at audits, we are offering a platform for discussions.
Okay.
Where people hold different views.